2:15.2 for the race lap record, so he's way underneath that, having turned a best of a 2:13.5. The overall race record for the Platinum class is a 2 minutes 12.4. And the fastest lap in this race has eclipsed that, because Corey Fergus turned a 2 minutes 12.1 earlier.
In fairness, that was a Gold Cup car now, what we would call a Gold Cup car. True. Because we have changed the formula on the Platinum class cars with the new cars for this year. So effectively that sets a new lap record for this iteration of cars, the first time that they've been here. Kurt Fasika's working his way past Greg Palmer a couple of moments ago at the first corner, and is now back up to 5th in gold. He's got 13 seconds to get onto the back of that battle between Charlie Luck and Victor Gomez. Will he be able to pull away and get that done? That is the battle that's coming past us now across the start-finish line.
Yeah, and Charlie Luck, who he did some NASCAR racing quite a long time ago now, as Victor Gomez looks to the inside. Not
quite there. Did you see what Charlie did there? That was really smart. He didn't block him by pulling over him. He just turned into the corner really early. I like that. But I've got a feeling that Victor is not going to be denied for very much longer, as Snow is back in the pit lane, presumably not having fixed the brake light issue. Well, it's a shame.
Very disappointing, because it's been a really strong run for McKay, at least for parts of each of the races.
Yeah, if he could only put all of his best parts together, he would have had a couple of really good results. I don't think this is a banner weekend. No lights at all on the back of that car now. Only when he turned the lights off. So yes, there is something not quite right there. Meantime,
good defensive driving going on there by Charlie Luck.
Absolutely agree.
He's got a lot of friends in the NASCAR world. He quit the sport to concentrate on the family business, and making a comeback this year, absolutely loving it, tremendously enthusiastic, and been racing well too.
Yeah, thoroughly enjoying his time in these Cup cars, and why wouldn't you? Over even last year's cars, the Gen 1 of the Porsche 991 type body shape for the venerable 911, producing something around 470 horsepower, 485 claimed for the Gen 2 cars, but that's very conservative. Talking to drivers who've driven the cars back-to-back in Europe. Long chat with Tim Harvey, the most successful Porsche Cup driver in UK Carrera Cup. Drove them back-to-back at Knock Hill, a little tight and twisty circuit in Scotland. And he and I did the TV broadcast for the Porsche Cup race at Le Mans this year before the 24 hours. And he was saying they are really very different indeed, considering they're based on the same model of car. A big step forward for the Gen 2 cars. But the Gen 1 still doing great work in the Gold Cup. Oh, that's a little bit naughty from Charlie. Look, he did squeeze Victor towards the pit wall there, closed the door. Victor had to back out and push to the left-hand side of the track, going down to turn 1. Don't like to see that, closing people into the pit wall, using the pit wall as a bit of intimidation. But Luck comes down the inside. He's fought back well there. That's a lovely manoeuvre down the hill. Tough braking when you're braking into a corner, when you're going downhill. Very easy, Jeremy, to get it wrong and either under brake or over brake and make a complete horlicks of the corner. Yeah,
and Victor Gomez finally gets that pass done. He's clearly getting, I think, a little bit frustrated behind Charlie Luck. He's made that pass now, and you'll see now if he can try and pull away a little bit. But it's he now who is defending the inside line down into turn 5.
I should mention Fred Kamer is, what, 7.5 seconds up the road from these two guys. He's in second in GT3 Gold and still leading Roman De Angelis. He's well ahead. Just coming across the start-finish line. There was a 911's gap there for a moment, but Charlie Luck was discouraging Victor Gomez from going to the right-hand side.
And he then moved across towards the left-hand side of the track. It wasn't all the way over the left, but arguably he was sort of blocking there to the other side of the track, and that is a no-no. You know, if you defend on the inside line, you're not allowed to go back and defend again on the outside either.
But clean as a whistle coming down the hill.
All's well that ends well, right?
Yeah. Good, right on the ragged edge of what's allowable. It's for a podium position. I understand why you want to defend. Corey Fergus now has got Jake Edson closing in on him. Had nearly 2 seconds on him not so very long ago, and that's come down to 3/4 of a second now, and Edson's putting in some good lap times. They were pretty much even the last time around. Their best laps are pretty much even, but Edson coming on strongly with just 8.5 minutes to go.
Yep, he certainly hasn't given up, has he, Jake Edson? He's lost a little bit of ground on this lap, actually. Not quite as close as he was as they came across start-finish line, actually, but Corey Fergus, hasn't shown the same quite as much consistency as he did yesterday, but still pretty close, and the last few laps have been very, very closely matched. The last 4, 5, 6 laps actually within a tenth of a second or so, so he's regained that consistency from yesterday.
And he's actually picked his pace back up again into the 2:12s. He was just in the early 13s for a little while, and as Edson has closed in on him, he's just picked up his pace a little bit. I always think that's a mark of a very good driver, Jeremy, when you're either being told by your pit board or more likely here by the guys in your ears on the pits to car radio, right, you're fine, keep it at that. Oh, right, okay, Edson's got a bit of a wiggle on, he's coming at you. Can you pick up the pace a little bit? Maybe 3 or 4 tenths, half a second a lap, okay. There's some kind of internal clock there, which great drivers, all the great drivers have, to be able to pace themselves like that.
Yeah, and Corey Fergus, he's done a lot of winning in his career, won SCCA championships, he's won World Challenge championships, he's won just about everything that he's ever competed in. So a really talented young guy. He's struggled for years and years to get the brakes to move into the professional ranks, but he's done that now, and he's giving an excellent account of himself this season. Jake Edson still has a pretty handy championship lead, but he's already had 4 wins to his name, and Corey Fergus potentially here is looking at his 3rd win of the season.
Sebastian Landy sitting in a comfortable 3rd position at the moment. He's 5 seconds behind the leader, but 2.5 ahead now of Trenton Estep. Estep in that classic black and gold Hertz machine, sitting in 4th position. He's 5 seconds ahead of Anthony Imperato, who hasn't made the impact on this race as he did earlier in the weekend, although it has to be said that Anthony was very good in the early parts of the races, faded a little bit in the last third. Anthony still holding on to 5th position in that number 91 car, but he's now 14 seconds away from the leader, which remains Corey Fergus with 6 minutes to go.
Yeah, and that was a good lap last time around by Corey. 2 minutes 12.59. He found half a second basically over the lap, the pace he had been running up until then.
And Corey Fergus then just stretches out to 1.4 seconds. Sebastian Landy's not given up, getting on terms with Jake Edson here. He's got the gap down to under 5 seconds, and he's just put in his own personal best first sector of the track. So he's got something left in that Forto coffee car in 3rd position. Maybe, just maybe, he saved a little bit of tyre performance from the Yokohamas. Maybe the team have just said to him, right, come on, it's go time. Let's see what you've got left. You've got something like a couple of seconds between yourself and Estep. As long as you don't throw it at the scenery, the 3rd place and the podium step there is fairly safe. Let's see what you've got. Come on, got into qualifying mode. And he's picked up his pace here. Comes up the hill now.
Just 5 minutes to go then in this 45-minute race. Time for another probably 3 laps. So there's still plenty of time, but the gap, I think, from I don't unless Edson makes a mistake, I don't see any way Sebastian Landy can catch him. And Corey Fergus with not a super fast lap. That's back into his regular pace around about 2 minutes 13. And it was Jake Edson once again. He's the guy who's struggling for consistency in this race, because he turns a quick lap and then a slower lap, and by quite a wide margin too. Yeah,
and 6 tenths quicker than Edson is Sebastian Landy, 2:12.9, just 3.5, 4 tenths away from his best lap of the race in that 49 car. But the More Speed 00 is continuing to lead under the Corvette bridge and turning in slightly blind there as you turn in over the top of the hill to turn number 6. Lovely serpentine run of the circuit here. Turn 7, much quicker than you think it is when you look at the track map. Take a huge amount of speed down the hurry downs, all downhill there to turn 8. Easy to get turn 8 wrong and drift out wide. Then set the car up for the carousel, which you could take out your e-reader and read a chapter or so the amount of time you're in that right-hander. It is a very long corner indeed, and it falls away in the middle and then picks up again. You can really feel the car hooking up there, right to the edge of the track and down towards the kink.
And Victor Gomez, having made that pass to Charlie Luck, has pulled well away now.
Yeah.
What's interesting for me is the battle now going on for the Masters class in Platinum. David Baker has led pretty much the whole way since the early spin for Jeff Mosing, but now Jeff Mosing is closing in again. So the number 01 car, Jeff Mosing, is pretty much on the tail of his fellow Texan David Baker.
Well, you mentioned Kurt Fazekas there, Victor Gomez there, and he's halved the deficit between himself and Fred Keimer. I think time's going to run out, but Victor, having got past Charlie Luck after that great battle, he's sitting in third in GT Gold, GT3 Gold, 12th overall, and he's down under 3.5 seconds now for that battle. Now, Jeff Mosing has got target acquired on David Baker. This is 8th and 9th overall, but importantly for the Platinum Masters win. And Mosing, again, just wondering if he's saved himself. Still feeling the effects of the accident at Watkins Glen, so not 100% up to race fitness, but wanting to take part this weekend. Has done a couple of other races as well, and he's got the multicoloured tail of that 56 car well in his sights now, and he's closing in, and David Baker is beginning to feel the heat turned off. Sebastian Landy, by the way, at the front of the field, just on his personal fastest lap of the race, and the best second sector of anybody. He gets down to a 12.4, and he's now under 4 seconds behind Jake Edson, who again struggled for consistency. 13.2 from Edson, but here's the battle going down into turn 3 from Jeff Mosing, chasing at the moment and looking for another gold class victory. David Baker has that maximum point score at the moment.
4 wins in the Masters this year for Jeff Mosing, 2 for David Baker. Jeff Mosing, however, did not take part in the, well, what was it, effectively the second race at Watkins Glen because of the major accident he had in the first round there. That car was pretty much destroyed, but he is still kind of in contention. I guess he's not in the points, is he? He's dropped back in the points now. So the points battle really is between David Baker and Mark Kawami right now, with Mosing missing. He missed the first race here, the make-up race from Watkins Glen as well. So he's pretty much out of the points contention, but he wants the wins.
Yeah, he will be the driver, or could be the driver with the most wins on the season. Coming through turn 14, the final right-hander, using all the roads. Corey Fergus in the Most Speed Porsche will see the white flag raised above the starter stand and now waved for him, and through goes Jake Edson in second. Now, where is Sebastian Landy? They're on their last 4 mile. There he is. He's really closed in. 3.5 seconds now between himself and second. The time is going to run out far too quickly for Sebastian Landy, who's almost judged this to perfection, pulling back on the leaders in gold. The 78 Porsche of Roman De Angelis, proudly displaying the maple leaf on the back of his car. He comes to the top of the hill, and he is in 7th overall. That's a really good run again for him. Super consistent, doesn't have quite the pace down the straights with the new cars having a little more horsepower. But my goodness, he knows how to race, and he's sensibly raced. Battled the platinum cars when he's needed to, but let them get away when it hasn't been going his way, and he's en route to the top step of the podium in the Gold Cup category. Now, Platinum Masters, I'm not sure. Baker and Mosing, just 7/10 between them as they went past us to start their last lap.
Yeah, and while Roman De Angelis got the Gold Cup class pretty much under control, Victor Gomez, he pulled in a second and a half last lap on Fred Keimer, so that's the battle isn't yet over.
That's a super drive by Victor Gomez. He was 7.5 seconds behind Keimer when he made the pass on Charlie Luck. I remember seeing that on the screen. Now, Masters category. These are the gentlemen with a few more years behind them. David Baker then. He's driven a very good race, David. Can't fault him for that. Jeff Mosing, remember, we saw him have that little incident early on, but he's fought back from that. And now within sight. This is the last lap. Corey Fergus with 1 3/4 seconds on Edson. Edson holding that 3.5 second gap back to Landy now. Landy not really able to make too much on that penultimate lap. Out of the final corner, the 21st and final time, the 45 minutes has elapsed, and it will be another win for Corey Ferguson for more speed. And he takes the second race of the weekend here at Road America for the Road America round. And it is top points, top step of the podium, and top driving for Corey Fergus.
Excellent performance once again by Corey Fergus from Columbus, Ohio. The third generation racer. His father was a very successful IMSA. His grandfather raced as well, particularly did a lot of historic racing later on. And here comes Roman DeAndres. This is a young talent. This really is a guy to watch in the future, John.
Remember this name, Roman DeAngelis. Remember where you saw him racing and where you heard us talking about him. He has a future in sports car racing. He's going to win the GT3 Gold category right behind Morsing and Baker, absolutely side by side. They'll come over the top together. I couldn't pick them apart. I could not pick them apart. And it's going to be on the timing. It's Morsing. Morsing's taking it right on the line by 0.005 of a second. My goodness, perfect judgment. And a huge celebratory donut on the outside of turn 1 by Jeff Morsing. Oh, don't put it in the wall, Jeff, after all of that. Trixie doesn't deserve that. Trixie 3.1 has certainly come of age this weekend. What a drive. Drive yourself happy, the motto of Morsing Motor Cars. What a finish there up the hill. David Baker defending for all he's worth and did a really good job. They came out of the final corner. Jeff went to the left and then got to the right-hand side. It looked like David had held him off. As they came over the top of the brow, they were pretty much side by side. And as they went past us, I looked up to the line, which is right in front of us, and I couldn't tell. I could barely see any of the rhubarb and custard colour scheme of Jeff Morsing's car ahead of David Baker. I wasn't sure because of the slight angle that we're on, but 0.005 on the timing screen tells the tale of the tape, and Morsing takes the Masters category.